Shalom, shalom, dear brethren. We welcome you to journey through the scriptures. We are going to read from the book of Bereshit to Hazon, or Genesis to Revelation, within 40 days, Yahweh's willing. Now we're in the book of Zechariah. We are going to start from chapter 1. Also, my name is Zechariah, welcoming you. Also inviting my brother to introduce himself, then we continue.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Brother Victor Kiiru, coming live from Nairobi. This is the journey through the scriptures. We are live on Facebook, on the Messianic Davar Show page, Victor Kiiru's timeline also. We're also live on YouTube as the Messianic Davar Show and as the Injili ya Milele ya Yahshua Messiah Show. Injili ya Milele ya Yahshua Messiah. Please make sure you subscribe, comment, like, share, tell us where we are watching us from. And we are in the book of Zechariah chapter 1.
Zechariah chapter 1, verses number 1. In the 8th month of the second year of YHWH, the word of Yahweh came to Zechariah, son of Berechiah, son of Iddo the Nabi, saying, Yahweh was very wroth with your fathers, and you shall say to them, Thus says Yahweh of hosts, turn back to me, declares Yahweh of hosts, and I shall turn back to you, declares Yahweh of hosts. Do not be like your fathers, to whom the former Nabim proclaimed, saying, Thus says Yahweh of hosts, turn back now from your evil ways and your evil deeds. But they did not obey and give heed to me, declares Yahweh. Your father, where are they? And the Nabi, do they live forever? But my words and my laws, which I commanded my servants the Nabim, did they not overtake your fathers? That then they turned back and said, and Yahweh of hosts planned to do to us according to our ways and according to our deeds, so he has done with us. On the 24th day of the 11th month, which is the month Shabbat, in the second year of YHWH, the word of Yahweh came to Zechariah, son of Berechiah, son of Iddo the Nabi, saying, I looked at night and saw a man riding on a red horse, and he was standing among the martyr trees in the shade, and behind him were horses and red sorrels and white. And I said, My master, what are these? And the messenger who was speaking to me said to me, Let me show you what they are. And the man who stood among the martyr trees answered and said, They are the one Yahweh has sent to go throughout the earth. And they answered the messenger of Yahweh who stood among the martyr trees and said, We have gone throughout the earth, and see, all the earth is at peace and rest. And the messenger of Yahweh answered and said, O Yahweh of hosts, how long will you have no compassion on Jerusalem, on the cities of Yehudah, against which you have enraged these 70 years? And Yahweh answered the messenger who talked to me, Good words, comforting words. And the messenger who spoke with me said to me, Proclaim, saying, Thus says Yahweh of hosts, I have been jealous for Jerusalem and for Zion with great jealousy. And I am very wroth with the nation who are at ease, for when I was a little wroth, they fathered the evil. Therefore, thus says Yahweh, I shall return to Jerusalem with compassion. My house shall be built in it, declares Yahweh of hosts, and the surveyor's line be stretched out over Jerusalem. Again proclaim, saying, Thus says of Yahweh of hosts, again my cities shall overflow with goodness, and Yahweh shall again comfort Zion, and shall again choose Jerusalem. And I lifted up my eyes and looked, and saw 4 horns, and I said to the messenger who was speaking to me, What are these? And he said to me, These are the horns that are scattered, that have scattered Yehudah, Israel, and Jerusalem. And Yahweh showed me 4 craftsmen. And I said, Who are these coming to do? What are these coming to do? And he spoke, saying, These are the horns that scattered Yehudah, so that no one lifted up his head, but these come to trouble them, to throw down the horns of the Gentiles that lifted up their horn against the land of Yehudah, to scatter it. Zechariah chapter number 2. And I lifted up my eyes and looked, and saw a man with a measuring line in his hand. And I said, Where are you going? And he said to me to measure Jerusalem, to see what is its width and what is its length. And see, the messenger who was speaking to me was going out, and another messenger was coming out to meet him. And he said to him, Run, speak to the young man, saying, Jerusalem is to remain unwalled because of the many men and livestock in it. For I myself I am to her, declares Yahweh, a wall of fire of all around, and for esteem I am in her midst. Oh, and flee from the land of the north, declares Yahweh. For I have scattered you like the four wind of the Shemaim, declares Yahweh. O Zion, escape, who have dwelt with the daughter of Babel. For thus says Yahweh of hosts, for the sake of esteem he sent me to the Gentiles which plunder you. For he who touches you touches the apple of my eye. For look, I am waving my hand against them, and they shall become spoiled for their servant. And you shall know that Yahweh of hosts has sent me. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for look, I am coming and shall dwell in your midst, declares Yahweh. And many Gentiles shall be joined to you, to Yahweh in that day, and they shall become my people, and I shall dwell in your midst, and you shall know that I am Yahweh of hosts has sent me to you. And Yahweh shall inherit Yehudah, his portion in the Kodesh land, and he shall again choose Jerusalem, push all flesh before Yahweh, for he has roused himself out of his Kodesh dwelling. Zechariah chapter number 3. And he showed me Yehoshua the Kohen Hagadol standing before the messenger of Yahweh, and the Hasatan standing at his right hand to be an adversary to him. And I said to Hasatan, Yahweh rebuke you, Hasatan. Yahweh who has chosen Jerusalem rebuke you in this, not a brand plucked from the fire. And Yeshua was dressed in filthy garment and was standing before the messenger. And he answered and spoke to those who stood before him, saying, Remove the filthy garment from him. And to him he said, See, I have removed your guilt from you, and shall put costly robes on you. And I said, Let them put a clean turban on his head. Then put a clean turban on his head, and then put garments on him. And the messenger of Yahweh stood by. And the messenger of Yahweh witnessed Joshua, saying, Thus says Yahweh first, If you walk in my ways, and if you guard my duty, then you shall as also rule my house, and also guard my courts, and I shall give you access among these standing here. Now listen, Joshua the Kohen Hagadol, you and your companion who sit before you, for they are men of symbol. For look, I am bringing forth my servant the branch. See the stone which I have put before Joshua. On one stone are 7 eyes, and see, I am engraving its inscription, declares Yahweh of hosts, and I shall remove the guilt of that land in one day. In that day, declares Yahweh of hosts, you shall invite one another under the vine, under the fig tree.
We are reading from the book of Zechariah chapter 4. And the angel that talked with me came again and waxed me as a man that is wakened out of his sleep, and said unto me, What seest thou? And I said, I looked, and behold, a candlestick all of gold, with a bowl upon the top of it, and the 7 lamps therein, and the 7 pipes of the 7 lamps which are upon the top therefore, and the 2 olive tree by it, and one upon the right side of the bowl, and the other upon the left side of the bowl. So I answered and spake to the angel that talked with me, saying, What are these, my surveying? Then the angel that talked with me answered and said unto me, Knowest you not what this be? And I said, No, my surveying. And he answered and spoke unto me, saying, This is the word of Yahweh unto Zerubbabel, saying, Not by might, not by power, but by the Spirit, says Yahweh of hosts. Who art, O great mountain, before Zerubbabel? You shall become a plain, and he shall bring the headstone therefore with shouting, crying, Grace, grace unto it. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, The hand of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation of the house. His hand shall also finish it, and you shall know that Yahweh of hosts has sent me unto you. For you have displeased the day of my small things. For they shall rejoice and shall see the palmlet in the hand of Zerubbabel. With those 7, they are the eyes of Yahweh, which run to and fro throughout the whole world. Then answered I and said unto him, What are these 2 olive trees upon the right side of the candlestick, and upon the left side therefore? And I answered again and said unto him, What be these 2 olive branches, which through the 2 golden pipes empty the golden oil out of themselves? And he answered me and said, Know you not what this be? And I answered, No, my surveying. Then he said, These are the 2 anointed ones that stand by the surveying of the whole earth. Zechariah chapter 5. Then I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a frying roll. And he said unto me, What seest you? And I answered, I see a frying roll. A length therefore is 20 cubits, and the breadth therefore 10 cubits. Then he said unto me, This is the curse that goes forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off us on this side according to it. And everyone that swears shall be cut off us on that side according to it. I will bring it forth, saith the Yahweh of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and in the house of him that swears falsely by my name. And it shall remain in the midst of the house, and shall consume it with the timber therefore, and of the stones therefore. Then the angel that talked with me went forth and said unto me, Lift up now thy eyes and see, what is this that goes forth? And I said, What is it? And he said, This is an ephah that goes forth. And he said, Moreover, this is their resemblance throughout the earth. Throughout the earth. And behold, there was lifted up a talent of lead. This is a woman that sits in the midst of the ephah. And he said, This is the wickedness that he cast into the midst of the ephah. And he cast the weight of the lead and upon the mouth therefore. Then lifted I up my eyes and looked, and behold, there came out 2 women, and the wind was in their wings, and they had wings like the wings of a stork, and they lifted up the ephah between the earth and the heaven. Then I said to the angel that talked with me, Where do these bear the ephah? Then he said unto me, To build it an house of the land of Shinar, and it shall be established and set there upon their own base. Zechariah chapter 6. And I turned and I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, there came 4 chariots out of from before 2 mountains, and the mountains were mountains of brass. In the first chariot were red horses, and in the second chariot black horses, and in the third chariot white horses, and in the fourth chariot gristed the bay horses. And I answered and said unto the angel and talked with me, What are these, my surveying? And the angel answered and said unto me, These are the 4 spirits of the heaven, which goeth forth from standing before the surveying of all the earth. The black horse, which are therein, goeth forth into the north country, and the white goes after them, and the gristle go forth toward the south country. And the bay went forth and sought to go, that they might walk to and fro throughout the earth. And he said, Get you hence, walk to and fro through the earth. So they walked to and fro throughout the earth. Then cried he upon me and spoke unto me, saying, Behold, these that go towards the north country have quieted my spirit in the north country. And the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Take of them of the captivity, even to Heldad of Tobijah and Jediah, which are come from Babylon. And come you the same day and go into the house of Jeshua, the son of Zephaniah. Then take silver and gold and make crown and set them upon the head of Joshua, the son of Chezedek, the high priest. And speak unto them, saying, Thus says Yahweh of hosts, saying, Behold, the man whose name is the branch, he shall grow up out of his place, and he shall build the temple of Yahweh. Even he shall build the temple of Yahweh, he shall bear the glory, and shall sit and rule upon the throne. And he shall be a priest upon the throne, and the counsel of peace shall be between them both. And the crown shall be to the Helem, and Tobijah, and to Jedidah, and Hen, and the son of Zephaniah, for a memorial in the temple of Yahweh. And they that are far off shall come and build the temple of Yahweh, and you shall know that Yahweh of hosts has sent me unto you. And this shall come to pass if you will diligently obey the voice of Yahweh, your Elohim.
Zechariah chapter number 7. And in the 4th year of the sovereign Darius, it came to be that the word of Yahweh came to Zechariah on the 4th of the 9th month, Kislev. Now Bethel had sent Sarethra and Ragemelech and his men to pray before Yahweh, speaking to the Kohanim who belong to the house of Yahweh of hosts, and to the Nabim, saying, should I weep in the 5th month and fast as I have done so for so many years? Then the word of Yahweh the word of Yahweh of hosts came to me, saying, speak to all the people of the land and to the Kohanim, saying, when you fasted and lamented in the 5th and the 7th month of all these 70 years, did you truly fast for me? And when you ate and when you drank, was it not for those eating and for those drinking? Are these not the words which Yahweh proclaimed through the former Nabim, when Jerusalem and the cities around it were inhabited, and its in safety, and the south and the low country were inhabited? And the word of Yahweh came to Zechariah, saying, thus says Yahweh of hosts, judge true light ruling, show kindness and compassion everyone to his brother. Do not oppress the widow or the fatherless, the stranger or the poor, and do not plot evil in your heart against one another. But they refused to listen, and they shrugged their shoulders and stopped their ears from hearing. And they made their hearts like flint against hearing the Torah and the words which Yahweh of hosts had sent by his work through the former Nabim. Therefore great wrath came from Yahweh of hosts, and it came to be as he called out, and they did not hear. So let them call, but I shall not hear, says Yahweh of hosts. And I scattered them with a storm wind against all the Gentiles which they had not known. And the land was laid waste behind them, and no one passing through or returning, for they made the pleasant land a waste. Zechariah chapter number 8. And the word of Yahweh of hosts came, saying, thus says Yahweh of hosts, I shall be jealous for Zion with great jealousy, with great wrath I shall be jealous for her. Thus says Yahweh, I shall return Zion, and I shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and Jerusalem shall be called city of the truth, and the mountain of Yahweh of hosts, the Kodesh mountain. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, again old men and old women shall dwell in the streets of the Jerusalem, and one with his staff in his hand because of great age. On the streets of the city shall be filled with boys and girls praying in its streets. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, if it is marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of his people in these days, should it also be marvelous in my eyes, declares Yahweh of hosts. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, see, I am saving my people from the land of sunrise and from the land of the sunset. I shall bring them back, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I shall be their Elohim in the truth and in righteousness. Thus is Yahweh of hosts, let your hand be strong, you who are listening in these days to these words from the mouth of the Nabim of the days that foundation was laid from the house of Yahweh of hosts, the Hekal that was to be rebuilt. For before these days there was no a wage for man, nor a hire for beast, and there was no peace for him who went out or came in because of his enemies, and I turned all men one against another. But now I am not as in the former days to the remnant of this people, declares Yahweh of hosts. Because of the sowing of the peace, the vine gives its fruit, the ground gives her increase, and the Shamaim give their due. And I shall cause the remnant of the people to inherit all this, and it shall be as you are a curse among the Gentiles, O house of Yehudah and house of Israel. So I shall save you, and you shall be a barakah. Do not fear, let your hands be strong, for thus says Yahweh of hosts, as I purpose to do evil to you, when your fathers provoked me, declares Yahweh of hosts, and I did not relent. So again in the days I have purposed to do good to Jerusalem and to the house of Yehudah. Do not fear. These are the words you should do. Speak to the truth to one another. Judge the truth and right ruling for peace in your gates. And do not plot evil in your heart against another, and do not love a false oath. For all this I hate, declares Yahweh. And the word of Yahweh of hosts came to me, saying, thus says Yahweh of hosts, the first of the 4th, and the first of the 5th, and the first of the 7th, and the first of the 10th, and are to be joy and gladness and pleasant appointed times for the house of Yehudah, and they shall love the truth and the peace. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, people shall yet come, inhabitant of many cities, and the inhabitant of the one go to another, saying, let us earnestly go and pray before Yahweh, and seek Yahweh of hosts. I myself I am going. And many people and strong nations shall come to seek Yahweh of hosts in the Jerusalem and to pray before Yahweh. And thus says Yahweh of hosts, in those days 10 men from all language of the nation take hold, they shall take hold of the edge of the garment of a man and a Yahudi, saying, let us go with you, for we have heard that Elohim is with you. Zechariah chapter number 9. The message of the word of Yahweh against the land of Hadrach, the Damascus resting place, when the eye of the man and of all tribes of Israel are on Yahweh, and Hamad also border on it. Sor and Sidon, though they are very wise. For Sor built herself a tower, heaped up silver like the dust and gold like the mud of the streets. See, Yahweh shall dispose her, and he shall destroy her power in the sea, and shall be consumed by fire. Ashkelon sees it and fear Azar too, wearied in anguish, and Ekron, for her expectation has dried up. And the sovereign shall perish from Azar, and Ashkelon shall not be inhabited, and a half-breed shall settle in Ashdod. So I shall cut off the pride of the Perishites, and shall take away his blood from his mouth, and the abominations from between his teeth, and he shall remain even he to our Elohim, and he shall be like a leader in Yehudah, and Ekron like a Jebusite. And I shall encamp around my house against an army, against him who passes by and him who returns, so that no oppressor passes through them again. For now I have seen with my eyes. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. See, your sovereign is coming to you. He is righteous and endowed with deliverance, humble and riding on a donkey, a colt, the foal of a donkey. And I shall cut off the chariot from Ephraim, and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle from shall be cut off, and he shall speak peace to the nations, and his rule is from the sea to sea, and from the river to the end of the earth. Also you, because of the blood of the covenant, I shall send your prisoners out of the pit. Return to the stronghold, you prisoners of the expectation. Even today I declare that I return double to you. For I shall bend Yehudah for me, and I shall fill the bow with Ephraim, and I shall stir up your sons, O Zion, against your sons, O Yon, and I shall make you like a sword of a mighty man. And I shall appear for them, and his arrow go forth like lightning, and the Yahweh sounds the ram's horn, and he shall go with whirlwind from the south. And Yahweh of hosts shall shield them, and they shall devour and trample on slingstone, and they shall drink roar of its with wine, and they shall be filled like basins, like the corners of the altars. And Yahweh the Elohim shall save them in that day as the flock of his people, for the stones of the diadem sparkling over his land. For what goodness is his, and what comeliness is his. Grain make the young man thrive, and new wine the maiden.
Zechariah chapter 10. Ask you, Yahweh, reign in Yahweh. Ask you, Yahweh, reign in the time of the latter rain. So Yahweh shall make the bright clouds, and give them shower of the rain to everyone grass in the field. For the Zechariah chapter 10. Ask you of Yahweh, reign in the time of the latter rain. So Yahweh shall make bright clouds, and give them shower of rain to everyone grass in the field. For the idols have spoken vanity, the diviners have seen a lie, and have told false dreams. They comfort in vain. Therefore they went their way as a flock. They were troubled because there was no shepherd. My anger was kindled against the shepherd, and I punished the goose. For Yahweh of hosts has visited his flock in the house of Judah, and has made them as his goodly horses in the battle. Out of him came forth the corner, out of him the nail, out of him the battle bow, out of him every oppressor together. And they shall be a great men which tread down their enemies in my of the street on the battle, and they shall fight, because Yahweh is with them, and their riders on the houses shall be confronted. And I will strengthen the houses of Judah, and I will save the house of Joseph, and I will bring them again to the place. I will bring them again to the place them. For I am mercy upon them, and they shall be as though I had not cast them off. For I am Yahweh your Elohim, I will hear them. And they of Ephraim shall be like a mighty man, and their heart shall rejoice as though wine. Yeah, their children shall see it and be glad, their heart shall rejoice in Yahweh. I will hiss for them and gather them, for I have redeemed them, and they shall increase as they have increased. I will sow them among the people, and they shall remember me in far countries. They shall live with their children and turn again. I will bring them again also out of the land of Egypt, and gather them out of Assyria, and I will bring them in the land of Gilgal and Lebanon, and place shall not be found for them. And I shall pass through the sea with affliction, and I shall smite the waves in the sea, and also the depths of the river shall dry up, and the pride of Assyria shall be brought down, in the sculpture of Egypt shall depart away. And I will strengthen them in Yahweh, and they shall walk up and down in the name, says Yahweh. Zechariah chapter 11. Open your doors, O Lebanon, that the fire may devour thy cedar. Howl fire tree, for the cedar is fallen because of the mighty aspect holes of the oaks of Bashan, for the forest of the vintage is come down. There is a voice of the hollowing of the shepherd, for the glory is spoiled, a voice of a roaring of a young lion, for the pride of Jordan is spoiled. Thus says Yahweh Elohim, feed my flock of my slaughter, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be Yahweh, for I am rich, and their own shepherd pity them not. For I will no more pity the inhabitants of the land, says Yahweh, but lo, I will deliver the men, every man into his neighbor's hand, and into the hand of his king. They shall smite the land, and out of their hand I will deliver them. And I will feed the flock of the slaughter, even you, O poor of the flock. And I took unto me 2 staves, the one I called beauty, and the one I called bands, and I fed the flock. 3 shepherds also I cut off in the mouth, and of my soul lifted them, and their soul also abhorred me. Then I said, I will not feed you, that you die, let it die, and that is to be cut off, let it be cut off, and let the rest of it, everyone the flesh of another. And I took my staff, even beauty, and I cut it asunder, that I might break my covenant, which I had made with all the people. And it was broken in that day. And so the poor of the flock that waited upon me knew that it was the word of Yahweh. And I said unto him, if you think good, give me a price, and if not, forbear. So they weighed for my price 30 pieces of silver. And Yahweh said unto me, cast it unto the potter, a goodly price, that I was priced at of them. And I took the 30 pieces of silver, and cast them to the potter in the house of Yahweh. Then I cut asunder my other staff, even bands, that I might break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel. And Yahweh said unto me, take unto you yet the instrument of a foolish shepherd, for lo, I will raise up a shepherd in the land, which shall not visit those that be cut off, neither shall seek the young one, nor heal that is broken, nor feed that stands still, but he shall eat the flesh of the fat, and tear their clothes in pieces. Woe to the idle shepherd that lead the flock, and the sword shall be upon his arm, and upon his right eye. The arm shall be clean dried up, and his right ear shall be utterly darkened. Zechariah chapter 12. The burden of the word of Yahweh for Israel, says Yahweh, which sets forth for the heavens, and lays the foundation of the earth, and formed the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all people round about, when they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. In that day I will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all the people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut into pieces throughout the people of earth, be gathered together against it. In that day, says Yahweh, I will smite every horse with astonishment, and his rider with madness. I will open my eyes upon the house of Judah, and will smite every horse of the people with blindness. And the governors of Judah shall say in their hearts, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be in the strength in the hours of hosts their Elohim. In that day will I make the governors of Judah lie like an heareth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in the sheaf. And they shall devour all the people round about on the right hand and on the left, and Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. Yahweh shall also save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. In that day shall Yahweh defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be David, and the house of David shall be as Elohim, as an angel of Yahweh before them. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem, and I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplication, and they shall look upon me whom they pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourn for his only son, and shall in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. In that day shall there be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of Hadarashon in the valley of Megiddo. In the land shall mourn every family apart from the family of the house of David, apart and their wives apart, the family of the house of Nathan apart and their wives apart, the family of the house of Levi apart, their wives apart, the family of Shimei apart and their wives apart. All the families that remain, every family apart, and the families apart.
Zechariah chapter number 13. In that day, a fountain shall be opened for the house of David and for the inhabitant of Jerusalem for sin and for uncleanness. And it shall be in that day, declares Yahweh of hosts, that I cut off the names of the idols from the earth, and they shall be remembered no more, and I shall also remove the prophets and the unclean spirit from the earth. And it shall be when one neighbor again, then it his father and mother who brought him forth shall say to him, you shall not live, because you have not spoken falsehood in the name of Yahweh. And it his father and mother who brought him forth shall pierce his through when he prophesied. And it shall be in that day that the Nabim shall be ashamed every one of his vision when he Nabah and that put a hairy robe on in order to deceive, but shall say, I am not a Nabi, I am a farmer, for a man sold me and a slave in my mouth. And one shall say to him, what are these wounds in your hands? And he shall say, because I was wounded at home by those who love me. Also awake against my shepherd, against the man who is my companion, declares Yahweh of hosts. Smite the shepherd and let the sheep be scattered, but I shall turn my hand upon the little ones. And it shall be throughout all the land, declares Yahweh, that the two that therein are cut off and die, and one third is left therein. And I shall bring the third into fire, and refine them as silver is refined, and try as gold is tried. And they shall come on my name, and I shall answer them. I shall say, this is my people, while they say, Yahweh is my Elohim. Zechariah chapter number 14. See, a day shall come for Yahweh and your Elohim, spoil shall be divided in your midst. And I shall gather all the Gentiles to battle against Jerusalem, and the city shall be taken, to the houses plundered, and the women ravished. Half of the city shall go into exile, built, but the remnant of the people shall not be cut off from the city. And I shall go forth, and he shall fight against those Gentiles as he fights in the day of battle. And in that day his feet shall stand upon the Mount of Olives, which faces Jerusalem on the east, and the mountain of Olives shall be split into two, for east to west, for a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall move toward the north, and half of it toward the south. And you shall flee to the valley of the mountain, for the valley of the mountains reaches to Astar, and you shall flee as they fled from the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, sovereign of Yehudah. And Yahweh my Elohim shall come, all the Kodeshim with you. And in that day it shall be, there is no light, it is dark, and it shall be one day which is known to Yahweh, neither day nor night, but an evening time there shall be light. And in that day it shall be, the living waters flow from Jerusalem, half of them towards the eastern sea, and half of them towards the western sea, in summer as well as in winter. And Yahweh shall be sovereign over all the earth. In that day there shall be one Yahweh, and his name one. All the land shall be changed into a desert plain, from Geba to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem, and she shall be raised up and inhabited in her place, from Benjamin gate to the place of the first gate of the corner gate, and from the tower of the Hananel to the wine presses of the sovereign. and they shall dwell in her, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited. And this is the plague with which Yahweh plagues all the people who fought against Jerusalem, and their flesh shall be decay while they stand on their feet, and their eyes decay in their sockets, and their tongues decay in their mouths. And it shall be in that day that a great confusion from Yahweh is among them, and every one of them shall seize the hand of his neighbor, and his hand rise up against his neighbor's hand, and Yehudah shall fight at Jerusalem as well. And the wealth of all the Gentiles round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and garments in great quantities. So also in the plague is the plague on the horse of the mule, on the camel and the donkey, and on the cattle that are in those camps as this plague. And it shall be that all who are reft from all the Gentiles which came up against Jerusalem shall go up from ear to bow themselves to the sovereign Yahweh of hosts, and to celebrate the festival of Sukkot. And it shall be that if any one of the clans of the earth does not come up to Jerusalem to bow himself to the sovereign Yahweh of hosts, on them there is to be no rain. And if the clan of Mitzrayim does not come up and enter in, then there is none. On them is a plague with which Yahweh plagued the Gentiles who do not come up to celebrate the festive of Sukkot. This is the punishment of Mitzrayim, and the punishment of all the Gentiles that do not come up to observe the festival of Sukkot. In that day, Kodesh to Yahweh shall be engraved, and the bell of the horses and the pots in the house of Yahweh shall be like the bowls before the altar. And every pot in the Jerusalem and Yehudah shall be Kodesh to Yahweh of hosts, and all those who slaughter shall come and take them and cook in them, and there shall no longer be merchants in the house of Yahweh of hosts in that day.
Hallelujah. Thank you so much. I've been able to finish the book of Zechariah. Remember, we are reading from the Hallelujah scripture and the Restoration Study scriptures from Yahweh Restoration Ministries. May Yahweh bless you. May Yahweh keep you. Thank you so much for your comments, for liking. Thank you so much. Santeni.